This video is to help you learn how to write algebraic expressions, or we're also going to be writing equations, and they sound pretty much alike. The only difference is that when we write expressions, they do not have an equal sign, whereas on a later part of the video we will write equations, and I just think equation sounds like equal. So equations will actually have that equal sign as a part of it. But they're very similar, and the strategies are very similar. So what you'll see here is that we have a phrase written in word form. And what they've done is given us an example for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So one way to write an algebraic expression is to just look at the algebraic expression and write exactly what it says. You'll notice anytime we're writing the variable in the expression, it's going to say a number, because our variable is an unknown number. So everywhere our variable is at in our expression in words, it's going to say a number somewhere. Now, it seems pretty simple, but there is a couple of tricky things that we want to look out for as we get to some different examples. So, take a look. A number tells us that we are talking about our variable plus 4. Now, a number plus 4, and I like to write them as I go because it helps me to get the expression at the end. A number plus 4, you'll notice the variable comes first. However, on the second example here for addition, you'll see 4 plus a number. That means that the variable becomes the second thing that you write. So it is very important that you write them in the order that they are described in the phrase. It's less important with addition and multiplication because we know, because of the commutative property, that it could go either way. And we could do 4 plus w and w plus 4 and ultimately get the same answer. But for the purposes of writing an accurate algebraic expression, we want to write it in the order that they're given to us. Now, here is where it's very important that we do that, starting with subtraction. A number minus 4 is written just as it says. A number is our unknown variable. We could use W, T, S, a triangle, anything we want, minus 4. Versus the second one, this is where it gets a little confusing, a number less than 4. Now, when you look at this here, it makes you think a number less than, subtract, 4, and that's actually incorrect, because what that is saying is that we want to be less than 4. So if you are less than 4, you have to start with 4 and then lose an unknown amount, or lose a number. So for this one up here, how much less are we talking? We're talking about losing 4. But for this one, we're starting with 4 and losing an unknown amount. And the best way to get better at these is to just practice, which is why it's very important that you hop on IXL or SOL Pass and do those assignments, because just me explaining this right here may be a little confusing until you start to see it in practice a bit more. Let's look at this one. 4 minus a number. So 4 minus a number makes sense because it goes in the order that we expect it to. 4 minus W. Both of these are the same expression. But again, this one is a little bit trickier. A number less than 4. If we're getting less than 4, we have to start with 4. Okay? Let's jump to multiplication. 4 times a number. That's pretty straightforward because they gave you that keyword times. The trick here is to remember that there are actually 3 different ways that you can write multiplication. Remember, we're not going to probably use this way a whole lot in algebra. Why? Because that multiplication symbol could be confused with a variable, the letter x. So they could say 4 times w, Remember, when they're right next to each other, it always means multiplication. We can remember that from back when we were learning order of operations or in our first algebra video. And then, of course, that large dot also means multiplication. These are the ways you're going to be more likely to see multiplication written now that we're doing some algebra. Another way that I wanted to add to this little column here that you may see multiplication is if they tell you to double or triple something. Of course, if I double something, that means that I multiply it by 2. If I triple it, I multiply it by 3. So, for example, if I said double the number 6, or double an unknown number. If you wanted to double an unknown number, you would write it like that, 2 times the number. If I wanted to triple an unknown number, so if I wanted to triple a number, then I would write 3 times the variable. Triple it, double it. Just a couple of ways that you may see a multiplication phrase written. And then at the bottom, a number divided by 4. So we have a number being our variable, it's our unknown amount, divided by 4. You can also see, remember, we can also read top to bottom because we know division can be written like what we would consider a fraction. So a number divided by 4. Just like if you're reading a book, you're always going to read left to right or top to bottom. Math is the same way. So whatever we say first, a number goes on top. Now this statement is very different from this one, and they didn't write this one in, so we're going to do it. This is an unknown amount being split into 4 equal groups. So imagine an unknown amount of candy being shared equally with 4 people. Down here, we have a different phrase. We have 4 divided by an unknown amount, so a number. This would be if we have 4 pieces of candy and we're sharing it with an unknown amount of people. So again, the order matters significantly. And then one other thing I wanted to throw in here for division, just like multiplication, you could say double or triple something. For division, sometimes they will say half of a number, and we know if we are cutting something in half, then we are dividing by 2. So if I wanted half of a number, I would take the number and divide it by 2. Or I would write W divided by 2. Another thing that you may see would be like if I wanted to take a third. Anytime you hear those fraction words, you want to think division because you're cutting it up. So a third of a number would mean divide by what? 3. So a third of a number would be W divided by 3. Just another way you may see those phrases. Now, at this point, we're going to kind of switch gears and look at creating an equation from a word problem. And so we're going to really want to use the same strategies that we used on UPS check. The nice thing is that you're not expected to actually solve any of these. All that they want you to do is to write an algebra equation, meaning that all of these have an equal sign and a variable. Now, it's an algebra equation because it has an unknown amount. So one of the things we have to do is figure out what we know versus what we don't know. And that is why I said UPS check is going to still be really important on these, because when you read these, they sound a lot like a word problem. We want to understand what they're telling us, understand what we know. A picture may even help you out. And then actually we don't have to solve for this. Our solving is figuring out what the equation looks like that we would use to solve if we wanted to. Those 2 questions that we always asked when we were doing UPS check, we always asked, are there equal groups? Because that's going to lead us to multiplication or division. And we also want to ask, am I given a large number and looking for a small number, or am I given small numbers looking for a large number? So looking for a large number or small number. because we know if we're looking for large numbers, then we're going to add or multiply, and if we're looking for small numbers, then we're going to divide or subtract, because that's what we can do in math to make numbers larger or smaller. So, our first question. Damon has 4 boxes. There are 20 cookies in each box. So, 4 boxes, 20 in each box. How many cookies does Damon have? And again, some of you are going to be very tempted to want to just answer this. That's not what they want you to do. They want you to find an equation that would match up to that. And there's actually a whole list here of equations because this is a matching exercise. They all involve the number 20, 5, 4, and a variable. But we're just going to kind of take them one at a time and write them ourselves. So, Damon has 4 boxes. There's 20 in each box. If I was planning this out, I would think 4 boxes, 20 in each box means that I have equal groups. So I'm already thinking it's going to either be multiplication or division. How many cookies does he have? Well, he has more than 20 because there's 20 in every box, which means I'm looking for a larger number. So what I'm looking for here is 4 times 20 is going to give me that answer to this question. How many cookies does he have? So I'm going to put a variable there. So I'm looking for 4 times 20 or 20 times 4. And I look to my list over here, and it is D. So now let's try another one. Erica has 20 boxes of cookies. She sells 4 boxes. How much does she have left? So you can hear that this sounds like Erica has 20 and she's losing some. She's selling 4 boxes. So we have 20 boxes, 20 boxes. She is going to lose 4. So we're going to cross them out. How many does she have left? So this makes it sound especially like a subtraction problem. It doesn't say anything about equal groups or everything having the same. And if she's losing some, she's selling some, she's going to have less left. So we're looking for an equation that looks like 20 minus 4 equals our variable. 20 minus 4. So I look over here, and it's here. And again, we don't have to solve these. We just want to be able to set up the equation. Alright, John has 20 cookies. He wants to pack them into 4 boxes. How many cookies can he put in each box? So we've got 20 boxes. 20 cookies. 4 boxes. So here's John and his 20 cookies. He's going to take them and put them into boxes. And there are 4 boxes. So where's he getting these cookies? From this pile. How many cookies can he put in each box? Remember that word each lets us know that we are a lot of times thinking about multiplication or division because that means that every box has the same amount. So now we think, how many cookies can he put in each box? Can he put more than 20 cookies in there or less than 20? Well, he has to put less because he only has 20 to start with. And so we would set up our equation, 20 divided by 4 boxes equals n. So you can see that the UPS check strategy that we've used for word problems all year is going to be especially helpful as you work through these algebra equations. So remember to use UPS check and ask yourself those 2 important questions. Are there equal groups? And am I looking for a larger number or smaller number? And practice makes progress with this. So practice, 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 and you will find these getting easier as you go. Let me know if you have any questions.